Well, welcome to another edition of What's So Funny, the show that probes the brains, the minds, the psyches, and the brains of the people who make the funny. Tonight, yes, we have a special guest, the legendary Yakov Smirnoff. Yes, that's true. I'm not lying. I don't know how we'll prove it, but actually, we'll have to figure out some way to prove it. And now the man who will make an attempt to prove it, your host and MC, Mr. Guy McPherson.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, Yakov's mic was off. We could have proved it with that laugh. Let's hear it.
I heard it.
Right there, authentic.
Yeah, Yakov. Is that a real laugh, by the way?
Yeah.
Whoa, there goes the microphone.
It's like, how clean can we be on the show? Clean?
Yeah, no, you can say what you want.
It's like orgasm. You can do it right or you can fake it, so I can do it both ways.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah. And that ties right into what you're doing in town, too. We just came from a seminar. And I got to say, I'm feeling excited about Yakov being here. What does that make you...
What do you
think
about it?
What do you think about it,
I
Yakov?
think that it's important that you feel good. That's what I live for.
And I got a smile from that.
Yes, that's
right.
important. That's what our relationship now. That's what we're doing. I care how he feels, and he feels good, then I'm happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yakov Smirnoff, straight from Moscow on the Hudson. Is it Moscow or Moscow?
Yes. Moskva in Russian.
Okay.
But Moscow, yeah.
Moscow.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the movie Moscow on the Hudson, in fact, starring Robin Williams.
That's correct.
You had a little movie career.
I did. I did enjoy working with Robin. Then I worked with Tom Hanks, and then I worked with...
Which movie with Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks' Money Pit.
And Shelley Long.
Yeah. And then I worked with Richard Pryor in Brewster's Millions. And then I worked with... and John Candy was in that movie, too.
Great Canadian.
And then I worked with Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson in Heartburn.
Didn't see that one.
Yeah, well, not many people did.
Was that the one they were homeless? Or is that?
No. They were married and they were trying to build a house. Or my role was I was the contractor who was remodeling their house, and they were fighting about that house. So I kind of have broken some.
That sounds like Money Pit. Are we talking about Money Pit? I was asking about Heartburn.
No, it was not Money Pit.
It wasn't?
No, Money Pit had the same thing, but here they were remodeling the house, so I was the general contractor who was charging them all the time for different things.
Basically, if there's a house involved in the movie, Yakov is your man.
I'm there.
Yeah.
They would hire me just based on that.
Yakov Smirnoff is our guest here in studio on What's So Funny on CFRO 102.7 FM. We're here every Sunday from 11 till midnight. And one of the biggest names we've had yet on our 2.5-year run here at the show.
There you go.
Yakov Smirnoff.
I'm glad to be that.
And it's not even your real name, is it? Smirnoff.
No, it used to be Jack Daniels. Yes, you published in a newspaper. Not many people do that. They just kind of... it's Yakov Naumovich Pokis. Not easy to remember for Americans.
That's a great stage name.
You think so?
Yeah.
What stage?
Somewhere. I don't know.
A stage of their life.
Out of town.
Yeah, exactly. No, Smirnoff is just a lot easier. And I actually been Smirnoff way more than, I've been longer Smirnoff than Pokis.
And did you change it legally? Or do you still go
absolutely.
By
No. When I came to America, that was... totally conscious decision because I wanted to do comedy and I wanted to have a funny name. But Yakov is my real name, and people told me Yaks. Well, we were just at Yaks, right? So Yaks are jokes, and so when people said, Yakov, don't you know that's a kind of a funny name? And then Smirnoff added to that, and so kind of like Whoopi Goldberg kind of a thing.
Yakov is Russian for Jacob.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Yeah, see, I know. I took Russian 100 in university.
Did you really?
Yeah, I don't remember anything but that. But so, Yakov, we saw you in those movies. You were on. I remember seeing you on Johnny Carson.
That's right.
You were in Miller Lite commercials.
Mm-hmm.
You were all over the TV.
I was.
80s into the 90s, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As you mentioned, you played at the White House. You've performed for presidents.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great shot of you tonight at your seminar, sharing a laugh with Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what have you been, I haven't seen you on TV lately. What have you been doing?
Well, I have a theater in Branson, Missouri. And the theater seats 2,000 people, and I do 200 shows a year, and I've been there the last 14 years. So I performed over 4 million people in that time.
Yeah.
And
now, for those who don't know, Branson is this huge mecca for what exactly?
I
mean, there's tons of theaters
entertainment, there. Yeah. It's the claim to fame, I guess, that we have more theater seats than Broadway and Las Vegas combined.
Wow.
So there's over 100 shows, and the shows, people come there just to see the shows. So I have my show at 9:30 in the morning.
What?
I'm not kidding. Well, you have it at 11 o'clock at night. So
okay.
So yeah. So it depends where the market is, and there are a lot of people who want to come to the show. And when I moved to Branson, there was not necessarily open slot, that in evenings. So I decided I want to be there, and I opened in the morning, and I served breakfast during my show. That was my kind of claim to fame. So I had yak in a box, and as the crowds grew, we just had more and more breakfasts and all of that stuff. And then now I don't serve breakfast anymore. But
are you still doing the morning shows?
I still do that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've never heard of a morning comedy show.
9:30 in the morning.
I'm not usually up. Well, I am now, but I wasn't for many, many years.
Yeah, it sells out. It's packed.
Wow.
2,000 seats.
Well, yeah, as I said, it's kind of a mecca. People come from all over the area, right?
Yeah.
To Branson.
And at this point, all over the country, in the United States and Canada, a lot of Canadians, especially at Thanksgiving. You have Thanksgiving earlier, right?
That's right.
So Americans celebrate Thanksgiving, so they don't go out at that time. But Canadians show up by buses, major. I had this Thanksgiving probably 20 to 25 buses a day of Canadians. And all I needed to say, "Hey," and they were happy.
Come on, Yakov. Have you heard me say it yet?
Not yet. No.
Well, we got an hour.
But the joke I tell them, and it's a corny joke, you probably heard it, but it's the difference between a New Yorker and a Canadian.
What's that?
That New Yorker takes an A train and Canadian takes a train A.
Yeah. That's true. Hey, if you want to call up and give Yakov hell for saying that corny Canadian joke.
No, wait. Tell me, is that a bad thing that people say? Is that considered like what? What is it considered if you say A?
If you say it?
Well, is it normal the Canadian kind of a?
Yeah, for a lot of Canadians, not all. What would you say, Kevin?
Yeah.
A. But we do hear British people and Australians say it, so I think we have sort of a bad rap for saying it.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I shouldn't have said that. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's fine. We embrace that.
He's hurt now. He's hurt. He's very sensitive.
I think you're in pain right now. How do you feel?
I am feeling hurt a little. What do you think about that?
I think I should back off.
We're gonna explain the feeling and
back
thinking
off,
a little.
Yakov.
Yeah, back off, Yakov. That's it.
We're going to explain the thinking and feeling a little later. But if you do have a question for Yakov, or want to say hi or whatever, our phone number is 604-684-7561 and speak to the legendary Yakov Smirnoff in our studios here in Vancouver, CFRO. Now, Yakov, so you're like a businessman now, right? Because you own the theater. You're not just going in and asking to play a certain number of shows a year. No. You own it. So you run the staff. And
I have 60 people, 60.
How many of those are in the show? Because I know you do a big production, right?
Yeah, I have 10 dancers and a comedy sketch group that does sketches with me. So there are 3 of them. And the rest of the crew and ushers and all of that, 60 people.
Wow.
And I've always been a solo performer. So when the Soviet Union collapsed and I chose to move to Branson, I became the real capitalist. I didn't even know.
That's right, yeah.
So now I run a corporation.
Well, now, you came to the United States in 1977.
Correct.
And you moved to Branson. What year was that?
93.
93,
yeah.
And as I said to you on the phone a few days ago, I would think that the culture shock from moving to Branson is greater than from moving from Russia to New York.
It's true. There was certain amount of adjustment that I had to make, and mostly it's just overall it was a good adjustment. The silly things were that they all say y'all and
like Canadians say hey. Right?
Yeah, and they say you come back, you hear, and I'm saying I heard it, and they're like checking your hearing. You hear, and so there that kind of stuff was. But those are minor things. The benefits being there are. I haven't locked my car in 14 years.
Really? Still like that?
Yeah. Haven't locked my house in 14 years. I mean, I love being in that. And raising children in that environment has just been fantastic. Mm-hmm. I mean, my kids are 16 and 14, and that's all they know. They know that the people are friendly and they're kind, and everybody is kind of in show business, but, everybody comes to we visit each other's theaters, and it's kind of a family kind of a setting there. So it's really cool.
And your kids are speaking with a Southern accent now?
A little bit, yeah, I have to admit. They do.
Natasha speaks with a Southern accent.
I don't think she'll admit that, and I would be the wrong guy to ask, because I have a little accent. I don't know if you noticed.
I haven't noticed.
No. Okay. Well, I do. Most people tell me that.
So it's interesting, though, when you moved to the United States back in 1977, coming from which was the Soviet Union back then, that was a difficult adjustment, or that was even difficult to accomplish, wasn't it? A lot of people weren't moving out, but you did it legally?
Legally. I applied for a visa, and the Russian government wanted to get some wheat from the United States. At that time, they didn't have food.
Right.
So Jimmy Carter said, if you guys want to show some human rights in your country, maybe we'll let you have some food. Mm-hmm. So my parents and I were exchanged for some wheat.
Really?
So every time now I see a Wonder Bread truck, I salute. And then I wonder, maybe So it worked out, though. I mean, I was lucky, but I was also had the guts to say I want to leave.
Now, your life back there, you were a cruise ship comic?
Not all the time on the cruise ships, but part-time, yes.
Yeah.
And then I would travel around the country with like a band. So I was more like MC. That was in the band. And then the cruises is where I got to know Americans. That's how I understood better what America was. Got the glimpses of America, that people were very free and excited about life, and the Russians were all kind of suppressed and didn't know where they're going. And so I saw the contrast, and I felt it. So more than I thought about this, or I saw it, I felt it. And it was hard to describe, but I told my parents, we need to go. We need to get out. And my dad was right on it. My dad really wanted to get out, and Mom was nervous. She was
right. I mean, they spent their whole life there.
Yeah. So, but once I invited my parents to see my show on a cruise ship, that's where my mom turned. Because she saw that I performed in front of people who didn't speak Russian. There was mostly, they call it in-tourist, which is like international tourists. So they would be from all over the world, and they they would have an interpreter to say, Yakov will do this, and then I was on my own, and they didn't understand it, but my facial expressions and my body posture and whatever, body language, made them laugh. So my mom recognized that ability, and she's a wise lady, and she said, you know what? You doing international performances, maybe we should go.
But you were doing them in Russian.
In Russian.
How was your English?
There was no English. I had no English.
No abilities, no few words.
I studied German. No, I never learned English.
And so you decide to go to a country where English is the national language, and not only that, But to make your living doing something that requires a good use of English.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty brave, I'd say.
I would say that.
But maybe a bit crazy.
I think there's a fine line between those two.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, you got to be a little nuts to take on certain things like that. I mean, look what I was doing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty crazy. I mean, getting out of Russia was fairly easy compared to what I did tonight. Yeah.
Well, and we'll talk about that. You did a seminar for singles on how to find laughter in love and love in laughter.
Correct.
And things like that. And we will talk about that. But I'm still interested in
sure.
moving and bringing your parents with you.
Yes.
They obviously must have been so proud of you once you made it.
Once I made it, yes. But prior to that, it was pretty scary for them because I was saying I'm going to do comedy, and they're saying you don't speak English, and I said so, and they just didn't understand that. Even my parents didn't believe that that's possible. But I said I was doing comedy in Russia, and I just need a little time. I'll learn the language. I'll be okay.
Was comedy similar? I mean, apart from the language, was the comedy similar?
My timing, yes. My timing didn't change. That's the same. I told some of those jokes, then I translated them and got to make people to laugh, and I recognized that they're the same jokes. They're the same kind of rhythm.
Right.
And I was impressed when I made a first person laugh, and they just genuinely they laughed, and I thought, wow, I can do it.
This was off stage, or
no.
What was that first time like? Was it on a stage in New York?
Yes.
Professionally, or amateur?
Amateur. There was a couple of first times in a way, because first time was in the Catskills. I was working as a bartender, and during the afternoon they had like Simon Says games, with the older people.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so I asked if they would let me tell a couple of jokes, and I swear at that time, maybe spoke 100 words overall. So I put together this little joke, a couple of jokes, and I told those jokes, and as I'm telling that last, I had like 3 jokes, and as I told my last joke, the lady in the audience started laughing hysterically, and it was like like a alarming kind of similar to mine, So I'm thinking I'm doing well. I didn't know she was having seizures.
Oh, that's not good.
Not good. And so then people coming over to me jokingly saying, "You are killing," and I'm going, "No, I wasn't killing. No killing," But to me, it was totally scary. That was, and then the next experience that was also very, for me, it's first to be on actual stage, Catch a Rising Star, and I did a show, and my heart was pounding. It was really scary. So, but I had guts to do it.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Did you take English classes? How did you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Mostly bartending.
Right.
Bartending was the first kind of a job that I got, and I had $200, and when I start making a little money here and there, saved up $200, and that's what it cost to go attend a school of mixology. So I have a diploma. Yeah, I do.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah,
your parents must have been very proud.
Very proud. Very proud. Very proud. Mixologist. I was professional, and so they gave me a first. One of the part of this whole thing, they said that we will place you. We'll get you a job. If you take this, if you spend this $200, we will. So here I am trying to figure out how to mix drinks, right? And I literally have no clue. And people ask for Bloody Mary, and you're thinking this gruesome, scene. How do you get Bloody Mary? All that kind of stuff. and or Sex on the Beach or things like that that just didn't make sense. And so then I go, after 2 weeks of barely understanding what they were talking about, they put me in a position. I was working in a restaurant in New York, was called Monk's Inn Restaurant, and so they gave me this robe, and so everybody wears it. And I was thinking that I just don't need to speak because, monks don't speak. So I thought, hey, that's perfect. Yeah. Well, so at first it was okay, but I was supposed to do a service bar where the waiters, and the first waiters were really friendly with me. But then they realized that I didn't know what I was doing, and they were not very friendly. So I got fired on the first night that I started working.
Oh,
and it was not good.
There goes your $200.
Yeah, well, no, it didn't work out that bad, because then I was sitting there kind of sad on the porch and by the restaurant, and the manager took pity on me and said, well, come on, let me teach you how to make some drinks. So but he said, on one condition, that you're going to be testing them with me. So we're going to do, the hands-on test this thing. So we were wasted, by 3 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't even walk, and he said, well, we'll give you another shot. And then a week later, and I got better at this. Week later, I got an offer from in a hotel. It was called Grossinger's Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a lot of comedians were there. So I went there, and I saw this big stage and huge 2,000-seat theater. It sounds like my theater.
Yeah.
And I would work in a bar called a Pink Elephant Bar, and it was right next to where the big theater. So I knew I could see comedy, and so I went back to Monk's Inn and told them that I really would like to take that position. And I was so nervous because this guy gave me my break, and he taught me how to mix drinks, and he said, listen, here's the deal. I believe that each person should, if they have an opportunity to grow, they should grow. So you don't have a problem. You can quit whenever you want to. And if you ever want a job, there's a job for you here. And I remember walking down Lincoln Avenue and towards Broadway, and it was like, I felt like Rocky movie was big at that time, and I was da-dun, da-da-dun, da-dun, da-dun, and I'm going, wow, if I can make it here, if I can be fired and then rehired, and a week later the guy says, carte blanche, anytime you can come here and you can, I'm going, wow, I can make it in America. I can make it. And that...
You know what I'd be thinking?
What?
What a country!
I should have write that down. I should have write that.
Say it for us, Yakov.
What a country! Yeah.
You ever say that here in Canada?
You know what? They don't respond very well here. No, when I say that. Yeah.
When you're talking about the States, or when you're talking about
Canada? It doesn't matter. It's not a cliche here somehow. I've tried it, and it's not. Yeah.
But so when you're at Grossinger's and you had the opportunity to see these comics, who were some of the ones that you saw that stood out, that made you want to go on?
Freddie Roman, do you remember him?
No, I don't.
He was a Catskills comedian. You probably would not. There was not any major name that I saw in there. Eddie Fisher, but he was a singer. He came one time there, but not anybody major, and I actually don't really... Freddie Roman's the only one that I remember. He used to play Vegas sometimes, and but they were just a road... That was vaudeville kind of comedy, It's just old jokes, and they just put them in routines, and each comedian was fighting with another because they stole their joke. Well, that joke was 100 years old,
right.
But the way they were doing it was a little different, whatever it was. But it gave me the timing and and I was learning in a way about America through listening to comedians, which is kind of weird, because they're looking at this slanted view. So I remember things like Chappaquiddick, for example.
Yeah.
I was learning about Chappaquiddick through the comedians, stuff like that.
It is a good way to learn, though, and a lot of people now get their news from Jon Stewart on The Daily Show, right?
That's true.
Comics do offer truths. A lot of them are generalizations. But
and a very cool kind of a point of view as well, right?
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Did any comic, whether it's at the clubs in New York or in the Catskills, sort of take you under the wing or give you advice on comedy, or is it sort of cutthroat? No, you're on your own.
No. I think that a lot of guys, Robin was very friendly, especially when we were doing Moscow and Hudson, was very friendly in terms of, do you know Kipadada?
Yeah, Kipadada.
Kipadada was very, helped me understand Gary Mildeer.
Right.
Those were just guys who were already around for a long time. Gary Mildeer is the one who asked me about Yakov. Do you know that it's a funny name? Do you know what it means? And we were sitting in Palm Springs Laugh Stop, and he was telling me about that. So Andrew Dice Clay was my roommate.
That's right. I was meaning to ask you about this.
For 3 years.
This doesn't sound like a good match.
Not a perfect match. No. But
Perfect Strangers?
Actually, yeah, it's true.
There's a show.
Yeah. Actually, Andrew makes me laugh. I mean, you see, here's the thinking feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk later about this, but I laugh so hard when I'm around him. I don't know why. And it's not his dirty stuff that you see on HBO or whatever. No. I know him because we were roommates for a long time. I know the man behind that curtain. So he gets the way he talks, just that New York crazy, and
false bravado.
Yeah, exactly, and it just cracks me up. Yeah. I mean, it really makes me laugh.
He's having a bit of a comeback, isn't he?
I haven't heard much.
Everyone's shrugging their shoulders. Maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah. Then Bill Cosby was very helpful.
Yeah. In what way?
It just first of all, watching someone who is clean. And then, as much as contact, we worked in Las Vegas, kind of different hotels, but so he would be friendly and just give me advice or suggest certain things that not to do or to do. And it was, so if I had a major decision to make, I would maybe, say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And I remember when Jay Leno, Playboy magazine did the 20 questions with me, and it was really early in my career, maybe 79, something like that. One of the first magazines that wanted to interview me like that, and so they had a long interview with me. It might be probably 5-6 hours. And during that interview, I said certain things. They want to know about sex in Russia. They want to know about, certain things when I was in the army and things like that. And then they published this magazine, and I got advance copy. And I remember it was like, I think it was right before Christmas time. And I read it. And I locked the doors, locked the windows. I thought I'm going to be, the KGB is not going to knock on my door tomorrow. I mean, I was totally scared. I'm not exaggerating this. Because all they did, they took out all the quotes that were a little bit more risque or a little bit more, provocative.
Take them out, they blew them up and isolated them so people could read them.
After 5-6 hour interview, it's only 20 questions, so they picked like the stuff that scared me, but it wasn't really anything major.
Not for Playboy.
No. But so I remember in the darkness of the night, coming out of this house and going. I knew that Jay is going to be at this party that a friend of ours was throwing, and so I can ask him what does he think I should do? Should I go back? Should I hide? And Jay read it, and he said, well, they didn't say anything more than we learned in high school. So what are you afraid about? And that was really helpful. So I remember that. Thank you, Jay. That was really good. And so I guess there was a lot of camaraderie in that. You know, I remember talking to him about to Jay Leno about my manager, and I said to him, so what's, I don't like this manager. He's really not paying attention to me. What should I do? And Jay said, let me ask you this. Is he, if he would have come to you and say, Yakov, I'm quitting. I'm going to sell cars now. I can't manage you. Would you be happy or not? And I said, I would be happy. He said, then you're chicken shit, because that means you're just afraid to tell him what you want. So those are the things that come to me when I...
And you fired your manager after that?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay Leno.
Yeah, thank you, Jay Leno.
Our guest this week is Yakov Smirnoff, in case you're just tuning in. No, it's not Borat.
Yes.
It's Yakov Smirnoff, the original.
The original. Yeah, Borat took a wrong turn somewhere, but then again, he won some awards, so that's a good thing.
What do you think of him?
I really didn't like the movie. I didn't like the movie.
Because he made fun of that your country?
But I also, I'm very protective over what I say. I try not to offend people. His direction is to offend people in some way, one way or another, whether he plays it dumb, whatever. So to me, it reminds more of Andrew's humor than Bill Cosby's humor.
So you made a conscious decision in your career to play it clean.
Yes,
to appeal to everybody.
So.
And of course in Branson, I imagine that...
But I played clean, whether I was in Las Vegas or Atlantic City or wherever it was.
And of course it helps your career. A lot of comics don't realize this, because now you're on TV a lot.
Exactly. Television, and I can be on your radio show.
Well, you said chicken shit.
That's true. But we can edit that out, right?
Sure, yeah. It's already done.
So we're not on delay here, Yakov.
Oh, no, but you said that too, so it's okay, though.
Well, that's the first. In 3 years, I've never sworn. You brought it out of me.
I'm so sorry, and I'm the clean
my
guy.
Guests have. Yeah, and you're the clean guy. If you have a question for Yakov, please call in so he knows that somebody's listening.
Jay said that. That wasn't me.
Right.
I was repeating. I was quoting Jay.
The phone number is 604-684-7561. The station is CFRO. The show's What's So Funny? I'm Guy McPherson along with Yakov Smirnoff. And we'll... do we have a call? Oh, we have a call.
Somebody's listening.
Yeah! Or it's a wrong number. We're not sure yet.
Okay.
It is Jude. Hey, Jude, you called in before, unless there's another person.
I called it at work, but I have the day off today, so I don't care if my bosses are listening.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Jude.
I was working and calling last time anyways. But, yeah, you mentioned the TV stuff there. Is it my imagination, or were you on King of the Hill once?
Yes, good job.
They went down to Branson, Missouri.
That's correct. Let me ask you, were you at work when you were watching that?
Well, I was listening. I listen to the radio when I'm at work.
I got it, but no TV.
I can't carry a TV.
Got it. Okay.
So, yeah. Otherwise,
what was the question? I'm sorry. I
was just kind of wondering if that was you on King of the Hill, but
yes.
So they actually hired you. They didn't have an impersonator.
No, they hired me.
Good for them. Yeah.
Yes, they did, and it was actually pretty interesting how they approached it. They wrote the script and they sent it to me. And they said, would you like to do it? And I read the script, and I said, no, I don't want to do it. Because what they wrote was very old Yakov kind of a thing, and more about the Soviet suppression jokes. And I said, well, I don't do this anymore, and I don't want to kind of continue that image that, people might still remember me for that, but I moved on. So they said, well, do you mind would you like to rewrite the script? Which is normally doesn't happen. Normally they don't like when you mess with their lines and stuff. I said I'd be delighted, and I rewrote it, and they said we'll love it. Let's do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you had a say in it.
Not the whole thing. Yeah, my part.
Yeah.
They just took what I wrote, and they were totally pleased with it.
Well, that's nice.
That's very nice.
Thanks, Jude.
No, you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
get back to work. No, you're not at work.
Well, next week.
Yeah, next week. But listen anyway.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Now we have line 2, Lauren. Lauren,
are you
there, Lauren?
Are you saying there's more than one
Yeah,
person?
there's more than one person.
Hello, Yakov. How are you this evening?
I'm terrific, Lauren. How are you?
Very good. I've been a fan of yours for a very long time, and the other day I was reading a wonderful article in the newspaper how you went back to university and all your work all about happiness. And
Yes, sir.
I wanted to, and I'm a children's performer, and that's one of the things I deal with in my music and comedy.
Yes.
About happiness. And I was inspired by that. We're on the same level, but you're much different than I am. And I want you to know, tell us more about how you arrived at that place and what happiness that brought you, sir.
The place of where he decided to go back to university?
Yeah, no, university, but with dealing with happiness and love,
Oh, right.
and that aspect.
I'll be delighted to tell you. It started kind of from the sad point of my life because I went for a divorce. And I'm very much a perfectionist. I try to do things that would be good for me and for other people. And something that was so important to me to make this relationship work and create laughter in my marriage, I couldn't make it work. And so I wanted to understand why in the beginning of the relationship there's laughter, and then in the end of the relationship the only people who are laughing are the divorce attorneys and realtors who sell your house.
That's right.
So I wanted to figure that out, and that's where I went to all the seminars, read tons of books, and went back to college, got master's degree in psychology, and little by little the answers start coming into focus, and they were very, very simple answers. The simplicity of it was that to create laughter, you need two people. You need one to laugh and one to create laughter and one to laugh. And that was in that kind of order. And so when I start putting that up against every relationship, there was a very specific formula that was coming out. And that's what I'm doing now by presenting the workshops and helping people see that pattern. And once they see it, then whether they're going to use it or not, that's up to them. But at least they're aware. And
you mentioned in the seminar how that there's sort of a 1 year, not a grace period, you didn't say, but there was 1 year where you have hormones that
That's
are
right.
dictating,
That's right.
where you want to perform and you're doing all the
That's
nice
right.
things, and then after that the hormones subside, and as you said,
Yeah.
you're on your own.
You're on your own, and you don't even know what you did right or wrong. You
Right.
just don't know, and all of a sudden you fall into whatever pattern that might be happening, but it's not healthy most of the time. That's why the divorce rate is rising, and that's why people are not laughing. Do you know the depression age used to be like in the 70s? Average person, the depressed person, average age was 35. Now it's 14 years old.
Do you mean when depression sets in?
No, if they take the age of people who are depressed in
Right.
clinical depression, they used to be 35 years old on average. Now it's 14.
Why is that?
Because what's happening, in my opinion, we're out of balance. What we discussed today, the workshop, and your listeners don't. It would take a little while to explain that, but we can be in the thinking mode or a feeling mode, and our society doesn't encourage feeling mode. They encourage the thinking mode. That's where
Even
the money.
for women?
Both, man. And
Oh, I
women.
see. This is where the money is made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
money made in the thinking mode. So when you're both in the same mode, you repel one another. So the happiness is just harder to combine now because, so where is it coming from now? The people are eating, the food is very accessible, but there is obesity in, like the United States, a huge epidemic. I don't know how it's here, but that's a quick way to feel good. we're not feeling good from kind of a natural source when we're connected the right way. So comedy, just the way it happens on stage, one person thinking, how does the audience feel? And once they feel good, then they start thinking, what do I do in return? And they applaud, they stand up, they do something nice, recommend the show, and that makes the performer feel good. That connection is what happens during falling in love stage.
It's a cycle of life.
That's right. It would be nice to keep repeating it, but we don't know what we did right.
And so in your seminars, you offer a formula to get laughter back in a relationship?
Correct. To create love in a relationship by communicating the right way, and laughter is a byproduct of that.
And it's all about communication, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Ultimately.
Ultimately, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can you share that formula?
Well,
we were doing it at the start of the show.
Yes, we did. If one person in the thinking mode, one in the feeling mode, the person in the thinking mode would say, I think we should continue answering this caller's question.
Yeah.
How does that feel? And then you would say,
I feel good about that. I feel positive.
excited,
I
happy,
think
joyful.
Yeah.
And then you would
what do
say,
you think?
I think we should continue to do that.
So
and then if you're smiling, which is what you're doing right now, that's the end of this particular discussion. So the smile of the person who is in a feeling mode decides, or is a way of knowing that this conversation is pretty much going in the right way.
So if you started out butting heads, you can end in somewhere positive. And maybe not even a smile, but how about a little touch on the arm or some display showing that your tensions have eased somewhat?
Absolutely, yeah. But the smile will be probably more natural thing that will happen before the touch or anything.
So you're not just talking about yucks in a marriage.
Funny.
You're talking about...
No, we're not talking the pull my finger kind of stuff. No.
Although that always does work.
Always work.
Yeah.
For one person. Not the feeler. No.
So you're not talking about set up punchline, make the other person laugh all the time.
Correct.
So humor involves more than just jokes.
Oh, actually 90%. This is studied by, the several sources came up with that most of the humor, 90% of the humor comes from body language, from facial expressions, from words that do not formulate a joke. It could be just some reference that you said, 3 hours ago, and you just say watermelon, and both of you crack up because something happened with the watermelon prior to that.
And ultimately, it's about caring how the other person is thinking or feeling.
That's correct.
Right.
And acknowledging the thoughts and understanding the feelings.
And you've made it your mission to spread your gospel.
I am.
To the world.
Yes, that's why I'm in Vancouver. That's why I'm at 12 o'clock, midnight, on the radio.
Well, yeah, if you're having problems at home and you're in the other room listening to the radio because you're butting heads with your
That's right.
spouse,
call us.
Give us a call.
We'll figure you out.
604-684-7561 here in Vancouver. 604-684-7561. Our guest, Yakov Smirnoff. I'm Guy McPherson. The show's What's So Funny on CFRO 102.7 FM. Yakov, you're still doing comedy, though, correct? And incorporating the comedy in your workshop.
Very much so. And I continue to work on it because I think stand-up is the key. I mean, to whatever, if the message is good, if it's gift wrapped in laughter, it becomes even better. So I believe very strongly what I'm teaching. And I teach now in 2 universities. University of Missouri and Drury University, also in Springfield, Missouri. So I've been lucky to be able to continue to perform and to continue to make people laugh.
Yeah, you're lucky.
And teach them.
And so the workshop seminar is a little different in that it's not all jokey joke.
No.
But you could impart the same message in your stand-up set, couldn't you?
I could, but it would be difficult for people to to practice it and to actually understand hands-on this. It's more of a capsule, message that I can say, okay, one person needs to laugh and one person needs to create laughter. I can do that much and gift wrapped in laughter, but in the setting of the workshop, I'm really giving you tools that you can take home and use.
Right. We have another caller, Jerry. Jerry, are you there?
I am definitely here.
You have a problem in your... Oh, can you turn down your radio? Turn down your radio.
Yeah. How about that?
Oh, that's much better.
Good evening or good morning.
How are you, Jerry?
I'm doing well, Yakov. How are you?
I'm doing awesome and getting better.
There you go. Nothing but improvement.
That's correct.
I've enjoyed you from the first time I saw you on television, and I can't read that. That's further back than either one of us care to go. But I have enjoyed to the point where I'm sitting up listening to you. All
yes,
right?
sir.
But you made a comment earlier, and I'd like to throw something at you to think about.
Don't throw too hard.
No. You were talking about your perfectionism.
Yes, sir.
You've got to always guard against that because perfectionism leaves no room for improvement.
Yes, I would agree with you. I do. I think
so. It's a fault.
You're a wise man, sir.
Well, when you sit up this late listening to people of your caliber, you have to be wise. Otherwise, people will call you stupid.
Well, so what do you think about being a perfectionist? Is that a curable thing?
I don't think one ever truly is a perfectionist. I think, as with the journey in life, you get on the road, but you can't let that blindness of perfectionism spoil your day.
Well,
right?
But it spurred him on to something more positive, even by going back to school and now teaching others about what he's learned.
Yeah, if it's an impetus, but if it's kept in that context rather than the carrot before the horse.
Right. No, my carriage is behind the horse. I can see the horse's butt. Yeah, no.
There you go. But you're etc. Your routine, joyful, very joyful to observe.
Thank you.
Top notch.
The doctor, Patch Adams, who is a strong advocate of laughter being a healing medicine, good comics or social commentary individuals are, in a way, healers.
I totally agree with you, sir. I appreciate your comment, and I think that it's very wise of you to notice that.
Well, we need more of that.
Well, I'll keep doing what I'm doing.
Thanks, Jerry.
Good for you. Thank you, and thanks for the program.
Thanks.
If you want.
Yep.
Thank you. If you want to give a call, we have about 10 more minutes left. 604-684-7561. Ask a question to Yakov Smirnoff. Yakov, the biggest problem couples face today, is it lack of communication?
It's lack of communication because they are unaware of the gifts that they can give to one another, and they assume that the gifts that they're giving are the same, but they're not. So the gifts that they should be giving to one another are different, just like the performer and the audience. What performer does for the audience, the gift that the performer gives, the gift of entertainment. What does the audience give to a performer is the complementary but opposite, which is acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. So if the performer came out on stage and said, I acknowledge you, the audience, you're a wonderful audience, I want you here all the time, and not entertain them, then they would not get what they want. They came to be entertained. So in the relationship, the communication breakdown happens because we're trying to give to the same gift to one another. It's like a fruitcake.
How so?
And you don't want it.
I don't like fruitcake. Yeah.
You do?
No.
Yeah. So that's what happens. There's only 5 fruitcakes in the whole planet. Well, people just keep giving them. Yeah. So the challenge is this. Once you recognize that the gift that if you're in the feeling mode, the gift that you want is understanding of your feelings. And the gift that I want, if I'm in the thinking mode, is respect of my thoughts. If you knew that, then communication pattern would just happen.
So a couple, one person in a relationship has to understand what mode the other is in and then take the opposite mode?
Yeah, both of them would be better if both understood. If you and I agreed and we're saying we're in the relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, it's the same thing. Relationship with your children. Here's an interesting kind of observation. You have a 2-year-old, right?
Yes.
Right now, do you think you're in a thinking mode or a feeling mode in the relationship to your son?
At times thinking, but mostly feeling.
How is that?
Just the joy, the fun,
You're feeling that, but you're thinking of what he needs to eat.
Oh, yeah.
You're thinking constantly how to change him. You're thinking all of this.
What he's going to need in order to not go crazy on me.
That's right.
Exactly.
So he's in the feeling of that. From that perspective, he's in the feeling mode. You're in the thinking mode. Yeah. You're his manager, and you're going to do this till he's 11 or 12. Once he crosses 12, he will fire you as a manager, and then you may get rehired as a consultant if you handle it well. But the reason is during the childhood, he doesn't have a choice. He is hormonally designed to be in the feeling mode. You do have a choice. You choose to be in the thinking mode, so you're good. And laughter, when he giggles, that makes you feel good.
Yes, that's right. It's a reciprocal arrangement.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have a text message from a regular listener, Corky Day, who's actually sitting out in the hall. And this is interesting.
It's actually a text message on a piece of paper. I love that.
It is. Could you get the presidents of Russia and the USA to relate better to each other? He's talking about Putin and Bush, but actually, funnily enough, you had a bit of a
input
in the relationship between Reagan and Gorbachev.
Yes, I did. But those two had a good sense of humor.
Right.
Putin, I don't think, has a sense of humor, period. So that's the lucky for us as a humanity that two leaders had a good sense of humor and were able to actually connect the right way. Mm-hmm. And so if we could do that in the Middle East, if we could do that, what happens, they're both in their heads. Normally, their leaders saying, I'm stronger than you, I'm powerful than you. It's like two rams are trying to push each other off some piece of wood across the river, So that's, to me, once they want to, then you can coach them. You can coach anybody if you have a really desire. Then you would do it. But if you don't have a desire...
So you're not going to bring about world peace?
Well, I know you're joking a little bit, right? But my desire would be to bring the age of enlaughterment. Uh-huh. The age of enlaughterment is my wish to leave to this humanity. And
we got to start at a grassroots level, I guess.
Yeah, Vancouver. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, just for everyday people, and then eventually they will work its way up.
If it's right, if it's something that people can walk away with. Yeah, you saw the shift of energy once they got it. It was like, oh my gosh. It was like you couldn't stop them. At that point, they want to know more because they're saying, I want this information because it might work for me because all the other things I tried don't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are lots of questions for you tonight.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for your call. We got a couple more minutes. I want to know, you're heading back to Branson, Missouri.
Correct.
Or Missouri, as they say.
Okay.
And you see, you're not really a native of there.
No. And you can tell, right?
Yeah, I can tell. But you're heading back, and you're going to be doing your shows. People can check your website for your schedule.
Yakov.com, YAKOV.com, or loveandlaughter.com.
Both will lead you to Yakov Smirnoff.
That's correct.
And I'm just wondering, in all your time, especially in the first couple of years in the United States, and maybe being fired from a job or whatever, and the anxieties you had faced, did you ever feel, I made the wrong choice, I should go back?
Never. Your
parents?
For them was harder. Mom was, for like 2-3 years, was fairly sad that she left some chandelier or some
artifact.
Yeah. But I think it was more of an excuse. I think it gave her more leverage to say, yeah, but I miss my chandelier or whatever. And then after a while she realized that it wasn't.
Yakov, come on. You did very well. You buy her a chandelier.
Thank you. You see, I needed your advice. Otherwise, I was coming home for Valentine's Day. I'll just bring a chandelier for Mom.
For God's sakes. It's been 20, 30 years, hasn't it? 30! 30 years this year.
That's correct.
Wow. How are you going to celebrate it?
So vodka, probably Smirnoff, maybe.
Yeah, you should get a cut of that.
I know.
Maybe you do. Yakov Smirnoff, thanks so much for dropping by our studios.
My
pleasure. Tied the record. 3 phone calls in one program.
Wow.
We actually even had another one.
We had a fourth.
He had to get off the road or something, so I think that's why we lost him.
So
he was calling on a cell phone.
I made the record.
I think
you
might have
set the record. Yeah.
Wow.
Only a performer of your stature could do that.
I am so honored. This is cool.
Even Janine Garofalo, how many did she get? 2? Maybe 3. Maybe you tied it with Janine Garofalo. Anyway, thanks so much.
I'm honored.
It was great to see you finally. And you're in Vancouver.
I'm here.
Canada.
I'm here.
Come back.
I will. I enjoy this town very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The show has been What's So Funny. I'm Guy McPherson. And our guest this week has been Yakov Smirnoff. And we'll be back again next week with another guest from the world of comedy on this station at 11 p.m. until midnight. See you then. Thanks.